So XDefiant got delayed indefinitely. And I'm not saying this is a bad thing, I actually think it's a great thing. But before we discuss that, I'm going to read the post. Message from the XDefiant team. Thank you to everyone who participated in our recent public test session and continues to stand alongside us as we build XDefiant. The PTS once again showed us your appreciation for our fast-paced gunplay, uniquely crafted maps, objectively driven modes, and iconic faction roster. But also to service some inconsistencies in the game experience that we need to address prior to launching our pre-season. So we've made the hard decision to delay the pre-season XDefiant. The team will continue working to address these issues and testing them to make sure we deliver on our goal of being a best-in-class arcade shooter. We will share more information about pre-season testing as it comes. Thanks again for your support. We are working hard to make something really special and we couldn't do it without you. This is probably the best thing that they could possibly do because their launch window has already been missed. They should have launched 2 to 3 months ago. Launching now is just suicide. And a lot of people saying, oh, this game's dead, this game's set up to failure already. Well, it's not really. It will set up for failure if it tries to launch and compete with the new Call of Duty, which realistically, Call of Duty is a fucking giant and XDefiant is a little midget, alright? Like, that's just the comparison you have to draw on this. XDefiant needs to launch when Call of Duty is at an all-time low, so that's 4 to 6 months after the Call of Duty or the yearly Call of Duty cycle. And that's what a lot of people were hyped about this game, is because when we got MW2, a couple months after, a lot of people were not happy with it, a lot of people were disliking the movement, the gunplay and all like that. And XDefiant beta came out and it got everyone really excited and rallied around it because that's what people want. People want a fast-paced arcade shooter, what the old Call of Duties used to be. And before you get some boomerang shit like, nah, it used to be a very methodical, slow-paced game. Brother, you've got a brain hemorrhage or something because that's not what Call of Duty used to be. And honestly, it's a bit ridiculous sometimes that people think that Call of Duty was not a fast-paced arcade shooter. Anyway, that's another fucking story for another time. But goodness gracious, some people just need to get a grip. So what they need to do now is they need to launch. They need to find a good launch window. And that is definitely next year. They cannot rush this launch window, and they definitely don't want to compete against Call of Duty, as well as other games like new Counter-Strike 2 just launched. It's having its difficulties, but it's still hitting all-time player counts. So it's doing very well. Also, Halo is still doing very well. That's like, realistically, you cannot launch XDefiant this year. You can't release it now, and you can't release it at the end of the year. So I'm still thinking the 4 to 6 month mark after the current Call of Duty release is probably a good spot to put it in. If you put it anywhere close this year or maybe the start of this year, you are setting it up to fail. And I don't want this game to fail because Call of Duty needs the competition. Because the last fucking 5 Call of Duties that have launched, they've all launched broken, buggy, and just full of fucking issues that never get fixed, never get addressed. And dude, I thought Infinity Ward were the coming angels of Call of Duty. They were the savior, but they fucking ruined MW2. It's actually kind of ridiculous. I don't know if it was Infinity Ward directly or Activision's, you know, hand pushing them in a certain direction. But at the end of the day, I've seen a lot of things that developers from Infinity Ward have been saying is like, this is the way we want it to be. You marketed it as an arcade shooter, as a homage to the old Call of Duties, and they just made it very slow paced and fucking Sentinel player. My bird is attacking my feet. They made a very Sentinel type game, and I don't mind that Call of Duty. Some people dislike it and some people like it. That's your personal opinion. I didn't think it was a bad Call of Duty. I thought it had a lot of improvements that needed to be made, and I was looking forward to those, but they just never happened, and I just kind of bummed out, and I started to play better like Counter-Strike, Starfield, Cyberpunk. I've been playing a lot of variety compared to what I used to play about a year ago, so I'm really enjoying it. But back to the topic at hand of XDefiant. Ooh. Oh yeah. Oh, that's good. Oh, that's good. You know, this could be any drink, you know, any sponsors, you know what I'm saying? My payment is 2 Zinger boxes an hour. XDefiant won't fail, in my opinion, if it launches in a good position. And that is definitely not this year. And if it does launch this year, it is setting itself up for failure. And a lot of people are already saying, oh, it's being delayed, this game's going to flop, it's going to fail, I'm not going to wait anymore, I'm not going to play it. Like, what kind of smooth-ass fucking brain opinion is that? Oh my god, you're not releasing it, fuck this, I'm losing interest of this. Like, what? Like, games do need to be delayed. Cyberpunk 2077 is a great fucking example of that. It delayed like 2-3 times, but it should have honestly been delayed for 2 to 3 years. Because like, it was just not ready. Same with New World. New World is a great MMO experience in my opinion. but it launched way too early, and that's because they started to hype it up before it was actually even playable. You're saying you're getting betas, you're getting fucking all these new trailers, all this content that you can possibly do, but it just wasn't ready. They were hyping it up too early, and XDefiant has done the same. It's hyped up too early, too many beta tests too early, and now they need to delay it once again. Surely there was some issues with the Play Store and Xbox Store and stuff like that they couldn't really control, and that's understandable. But at the end of the day, you obviously hyped it up too early and people will lose interest. But at the end of the day, people will play this game regardless. If you like Call of Duty and you want a different change of pace, you will play this game. People saying like, oh, nah, new Call of Duty launch, fuck XDefiant, we hate XDefiant, we don't care. It's like, it's a bit delusional, right? Because after 4 months of the same Call of Duty that you played, you start spreading out and playing different games. That's just what always happens. It's the standard Call of Duty cycle. Everyone gets hyped up, everyone fucking grinds the fucking game for the first 2-3 months. They kind of get a bit bored of it and they're like, oh, I'm gonna branch out to new games. And that's when XDefiant needs to release to capitalize on those players leaving the Call of Duty scene for a while because they're bored or they just want to change and mix something up. Another reason why it won't fail is because it's going to be a free-to-play game on all platforms and crossplay. So you are competing with Call of Duty that is for me, 120 fucking Australian dollars, right? Versus a free-to-play game, which is basically similar to Call of Duty, but back to the roots of the arcade shooter type. Anyway, that was just my opinion on the XDefiant situation. It's definitely not going to fail. It just really depends on the launch window it sets it up for, because if it is between the hype of Call of Duty and Christmas, it's going to flop. And it's just basically a waste of everyone that was developing it and all the people that were hyped for it. You need a good launch window and good seasonal content, and it will thrive and do well, but it won't be a complete competition for Call of Duty because Call of Duty is simply a giant in the gaming space. But this is healthy competition that is needed for Call of Duty to wake up and kind of fix their fucking issues, because my goodness, every Call of Duty has been a mess for the last 6 years, and they need to really step up their game and launch a fully completed game and not just be like, oh nah, those features will come 3 seasons later. They got to do better, and XDefiant will pressure them to do that. Anyway, hope you enjoy the rest of your week, and I'll catch you later.
Like send the address through, please. SUV, the outside white, the inside brown like Michael Jack. More time and Bella Line and